on target.
Almost there.
Stay on target.
They're right behind me.
Almost there.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Yakima On Target. I'm your host, Sean Davido, and today I'm joined by Jim Winkenwerder. And Jim Winkenwerder is the host of The Other Side on TV and a Yakima Community Television producer.
I am there. Nice to see you. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, you've been doing this for quite a while. How many shows have you actually done for YCTV? And let's talk a little bit about YCTV. YCTV is the public access side of
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I've done apparently a little over 200 shows.
Yeah, 218 or
16 or so, yeah. And that blew me away when I saw that number because I have not been keeping score.
Right.
But no, it's been a long time. I didn't realize actually how the time has flown by.
And so, what is a community producer? Can you talk to me just a little bit about what is a community producer? What do you do
I'm not
here?
sure what the definition is, but as far as a community producer is concerned, from my standpoint, is someone who has some interest in getting some word out there to the public,
Right.
and as opposed to maybe writing letters to the editor or something like this. This gives the producer the ability to be on a forum such as we have here today, talk about a few pertinent things that are pertinent at the time in the community.
Yeah.
And that to me is how I envision what I'm doing.
Right. Now, I know the answer to a few of these questions.
Oh, really? Okay.
But do you remember when you started? I actually helped you get certified here.
Well, I think you did because, I'll give you just a quick little Reader's Digest version here. I was working with Ron Bonlander,
Right.
who at that time was active in politics, city council work, and Democratic Party in general, and he knew I had similar interests. And anyway, one thing led to another, and we decided we might like to do something on radio, actually.
Right, right.
And I think Ron shopped around the radio market and didn't find what would work. So he said, maybe we can do something with the community television.
Right, yeah.
And wow, why not?
Yeah.
So that was it, and that was the fall of, what was it, 2008.
2008.
Right.
It looks like June of 2000.
So he explored what we had to do here, and we took some classes here, and we learned a few technical things that were soon probably forgotten.
Right.
And anyway, that's where we started, and that was in 11 years ago almost.
Wow, more than a decade.
More than a decade.
Now, how has your show evolved over the years? It was very political when Ron used to do it. It was a pretty political show.
And we
wasn't
have we still get involved politically. There's no doubt about it. No question. I have friends who give me a lot of trouble because living in Yakima doing the show as a Democrat and being a Husky from the University of Washington, I'm very vulnerable.
That's two strikes almost.
Yeah, I know
here.
it. I have to wear armor when I go out at night. But seriously, no, we started and we rolled along pretty well, and we weren't very long. It seemed like a very short time that Ron and I were doing this and getting some good phone calls, enjoying some modicum of success if we could. And anyway, I remember coming home one autumn afternoon. Mm-hmm. I'd been on a Census Bureau trip that I was working part-time for the Census Bureau.
Right.
I'd been to Wenatchee. I remember the day very well. Came in the house, and Nita said, my wife said, sit down. I said, what's up? She said, Ron Bonlander passed away.
Yeah, stunning.
And I never will forget, he passed away rather suddenly, an attack of some kind. But anyway.
Aneurysm, I think he had an aneurysm.
Yeah, that sounds right. And so anyway, I had to come to some sort of a decision, and I knew I was enjoying doing the show. And also, on behalf of Ron, I felt there's a little obligation there in his behalf to carry on.
Carry it on.
Talk to his wife a little bit on the subject, and one thing led to another, and so we decided to carry forth.
And you have a new partner now. You've done several shows.
Well, we've had several partners over time.
Right.
And right now, Larry Breer, a gentleman, a retired military guy, and he's interested in writing and talking and so forth, and we share a similar
outlook
politically, and so we put the show together. Also, I should mention that also through YCTV here, we met Julie Buse.
Right.
And she is a talented lady as far as doing some of the things
She
funny.
does the technical side.
Yeah,
She does
exactly,
the switching
exactly.
and the editing for you
And she's
guys.
been with us several years now,
Yeah.
so she's been very helpful. And
So it takes a team. It takes
Oh,
a team to produce a
absolutely.
program like
And,
this, right?
And we're very broad-minded. Maybe that's the wrong term, but anyway, what I'm saying is the show is entitled The Other Side on TV.
Right.
And I think it was Ron Bonlander's idea, and it recognized the idea that there were two sides politically in Yakima, and we were
Right.
the other side.
Yeah.
Well, over time, it's still true, that's very true, but we've expanded into doing a variety of shows on in fact, this is the way I feel about any show, any topic that has interest in Yakima
Civic interest.
from the public affairs,
Right, public
might
affairs.
be having to do with the state fair.
Right.
It might nothing political there at all, but on and on. So we have been successful in that regard, and the only way I know I'm successful, occasionally I'll get a word from somebody at church who'll give me heck or otherwise. And
Flipping through the channels and see
occasionally
somebody you know.
More than once I've been in a grocery store,
Right.
and some little old lady or whatever I didn't recognize, oh, thank you for doing that show on,
Right.
really, well, thank you, and blah, blah. But so anyway, we've been doing it those years. Kind of like many things in life, we evolve into things unexpectedly.
Right.
And here we are. We remember Ron and his original contributions, and I'm sure he'd be happy today to know that we've moved on and are doing
Are continuing,
a variety of things
Yeah.
in the interest of public affairs in Yakima.
And Yakima for the
Right,
community.
exactly.
So how long do you plan on doing this, Jim? Are you going to just keep
I
on
have no-
keep on going?
I have no deadline written.
Just keep going. You're retired, right?
Oh yeah, I am that.
Now,
But
how many shows do you do, and how often do you do shows?
We try to do 2 shows a month,
Right.
every 2 weeks. And what the protocol and the way it goes, we will do a given show, usually midweek. Gives our producer, our director person, it gives her a chance to cut it up, do it, edit it,
Do some
whatever they
editing,
do
yeah.
to it. And then usually we have 5, 6, 7, maybe as many 7, but at least 6 shows over the next 2 weeks.
Right, and it runs on Yakima Community Television. Which is,
YCTV channel 192.
yes, yes.
So that's where we are, and that's our plan. See no reason to discontinue it. We're always open for ideas. We've had shows where people call, well, okay, we've done a couple of shows involving Noah's Ark,
Right,
the
just
public
recently.
facility down there in Wapato. And this was through my church. Somebody at my church recognized what we were doing here at YCTV, came up to me and said, do you think we could do something centered around the church? And we said, sure. The other thing we plan to do in the future, we hope to do a little more of it, Julie is open to it, and that is the idea of maybe getting out in the field a little more so we can do a show from a given situation,
Right.
and then we can, of course, work with it in the studio.
Right.
But this gives us a little broader reach and so on.
Right, with some of the technology that's more
Oh,
possible
yeah,
than
yeah.
ever today. So
You bet.
I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a curveball.
Good, I like those.
Now you do civic current affairs, and you've been around Yakima for quite a while. What do you think can be done about community pride, and where does Yakima sit on the scale of community pride? Do you feel?
Well, and that's always a tough one because I
Right.
think community pride, I think, has to come from the grassroots. It has to be something people feel. And I can remember even moving here as a young man, 11 years old or so, my daddy at the time told me, he said, Yakima's kind of different. He said, there's there's people who have and the people who don't have. And I grew to recognize this over the years, right? You know, you can drive around Yakima and you can see some areas that are just marvelous in terms of homes and all. And yet you don't have to drive very far and you can see some pretty bad living conditions.
Yeah, poverty conditions.
So we do have a natural, probably caused by agriculture as much as anything, but we do have a natural schism between the different classes, if you will.
Right.
And this is where we have to search a little bit for anything that would be to get into the realm of community pride. I think we have to find some common ground. And, you know, you feel, I can remember over the years, I remember the Yakima Beatles American Legion team had a couple national success championships.
Right.
A lot of community pride. So it's events like that that bring it out. And I think when something like that does happen, then I think all that we can do as a community, whether it's if we have somebody that wins a championship in, I don't care, rowing or tennis or whatever it might be, something like a parade
Right.
is a good thing. It's only temporary, but it's another thing that we can do to commit. And I think there's more that can be done. There's something, I think there's something that can be done on TV actually, where there could be an hour a month dedicated to some kind of a show that would zero in on something like community pride.
Right.
Why are we proud of this? What can be done about that?
Right.
How do we eliminate this thing that is creates the opposite, a sense of shame, if
Right.
you will. So there's things that can be done, and it takes people like Sean and Bonnie here to get these things going. But seriously,
We do what we can.
I know, and you do well, but I think there are things that can be done in a community. Now, Yakima, I see recently, the population's about 95,000. The metropolitan area, the county's about 250,000. And these are all big numbers, good numbers. A lot of diversity there. We have a very mixed population, which is not a bad thing. And I think there's things that actually can be done that would enhance community pride.
Do you think, on the political side, breaking those political boundaries, is that part of the problem? And that's maybe a national problem and a
And I
local
think
problem?
that will inevitably happen.
Yeah.
Because there was a time, and I joke with my friends and all, that a Democrat was kind of a rarity in Yakima.
Right. That's why this show
Yeah,
started.
maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah.
And as people, because there was a time, I'll bet, and I'm just guessing here, but I'll bet you could go back into the 50s, maybe 60s, and if you looked at a demographic study of the voting public in Yakima, you'd find most of them are the classic white guy, woman,
Right.
and fewer and fewer people who were of different races actually even participated, and the reasons are manifold. But I think as that has changed, and it has changed some, as it increases, as it changes more, you'll see more and more diversity. You'll see more and more changes in, hopefully, like pride,
Right.
and some of these other factors.
Yakima is a very diverse and prideful community. I'm very proud of Yakima. I love
Yeah,
it here.
yeah.
I wouldn't live anywhere else.
No, I was bragging to somebody the other day that when you look at the weather around the United States and tornadoes and
Yeah.
God knows what, we do live in one of the best places in the country, right here.
It's been a little smoky lately.
Yeah, but I was looking at the Weather Channel
It's
today.
not that bad this year.
About 90 some degrees
Yeah.
earlier this afternoon, maybe 97 or something. But the humidity was only 26.
Right.
Well, see, God, if that humidity was 85 instead of,
We'd
we'd
be
be
sweating.
cooking like my kitchen today or two.
Yes, we would.
But seriously, no, this is not a bad place to live.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
I think we're very good with what I need to cover. Do you have anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I just want to thank you for having me in and give me a chance to go through some of these things. And I think that here at the studio and station, I think there's a future for us working together somewhat on different topics, different things, and maybe we can do some of these things about Yakima Pride in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Be glad to work with you.
Yep. Thank you for joining me
Thank
today,
you for
Jim.
having me in.
All right.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on Yakima On Target.
Stay on target.
Almost there.
Stay on target.
Almost there.
For more information on YPAC programming, please call 575-6092.